Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Heritage Day was celebrated in Lloydminster yesterday to cap off the long weekend. Our Callan Dunlop has more on the events that were planned to mark the occasion.
Put on through the Lloydminster Museum and Archives and held at Weaver Park, the annual edition of Heritage Day took place. This year, the event had horse wagon rides, live music, and even a petting zoo.
Heritage Day is something that is celebrated both in Alberta and Saskatchewan, and it's for us here at Weaver Park. It's just a time to reflect on the history of Lloydminster and kind of how we were built and how we were founded here.
The day-long event had lots to offer for any individuals at any time they could make it.
So we started with the pancake breakfast this morning at 8:30. We were full right until the very end. We ran right out of pancakes right at about 10 o'clock when she wrapped up. And then everybody came over to join all the activities starting at 10. And yeah, we've had a great turnout today. We've had lots of people coming through and enjoying.
Heritage Day concluded with a tractor show around the whole park area. Callan Dunlop, Primetime, Local News.
Riverbend Trading Post's Sunflower U-Pick Farm is now open after a grand opening over the long weekend coinciding with National Sunflower Day. Our Shelby Clark had the chance to visit this beautiful farm and see everything it has to offer for people in the surrounding area.
National Sunflower Day serves as a reminder for people to embrace their inner radiance and celebrate the beauty of sunflowers and what they symbolize. This U-Pick farm recognized the National Day with a weekend full of fun activities and prizes for people to enter. Trish and Ed Noble, who own and operate this farm, enjoy watching people love the view and spending the day with their gorgeous sunflowers.
We have a lot of handmade products. There's jewelry and there's crocheted sunflowers and just all sorts of little goodies in our Riverbend Trading Post. For stuff to do, we're going to have different events throughout the summer and celebrate the National Hot Dog Day, or I want to do a National Dog Day, but just kind of keep up with the calendar.
Trish Noble explains how she found inspiration to start up the Sunflower U-Pick farm during the global pandemic and the tough road it took for them to get here.
I came across some U-Pick gardens in Ontario, and they were selling them for $3 a sunflower. And I thought, well, we had this area and that sunflowers would be fun. And Ed was already planting them. So he went out and planted it, but it was in 2021 when we opened, and it was a drought.
With a few obstacles in place, the Nobles finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel and began seeing strong support.
So now they grew knee-high, and I thought no one's going to want to come. So I took a photo of the dogs running out in the field, and I put it on Facebook and had over 5,000 likes. So we quickly opened. We opened for the September long weekend. We had 300 people come out because kind of people thought we were crazy doing a sunflower farm, but I was sure it was going to be a hit, and it has been. This is our third year.
The Sunflower U-Pick farm will be expanding in the next year with a disc golf course and a camping site for the summer seasons. The Nobles plan to stay open till the end of September and will have more information on their event in October. Shelby Clark, Primetime Local News.
And Shelby's here for a look at weather. It was a nice long weekend, not too hot, but still not cold at the same time.
Of course, yeah, it was actually very nice, I would say. Like, I was at my lake spot for a bit over in South Buck Lake, and it was beautiful conditions. So hopefully everybody had a chance to kind of get out there and enjoy it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are heading out to the lake or Sandy Beach or wherever.
It was crazy. We were even just talking about this, how crazy the roads were and everything.
Very
Everybody
busy,
was out in the roads driving somewhere, going back and forth. So it seems like a lot of people had some good plans for the long weekend and enjoyed the weather conditions, because I feel like it was a good balance. It wasn't like scorchers where you're overly
It was still warm, but it wasn't like 30 degrees.
Exactly. It was a good balance. It's good tanning season, and also you're not going to be getting heat stroke unless you are staying safe out there, though. So as long as you're using that sunscreen.
Always bring your water, right? That's what you say. Have that cloth ready.
Exactly. As long as you have that sunscreen, the water, like I always say, staying hydrated is the most important aspect when you want to enjoy the summer season, of course. But, you know, I think a lot of people are still having some fun out there. It was a beautiful long weekend, I would say. It felt like it was kind of redemption after some of those past long weekends that we had that were slightly cooler. Yeah, exactly. So this was a good long weekend. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. But please make sure to send me in some of those weather photos. I have a couple to show. I still want to see everybody's nice, beautiful weather photos out there, so make sure to still email me or send me them. I'd love to see it. But now as you look at what we're sitting at now in the border city, we are just sitting at 21 degrees, so we have cooled down slightly from what we have been seeing from over the long weekend. We were kind of looking at those mid-20s, but now we are just sitting at 21, and we are seeing a mixture of some sun and clouds. So I would say we are still seeing a beautiful day today. Hopefully everybody's enjoying it. Switching over to temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, most spots are kind of following suit with us here in the border city. Most are just sitting around 20 to 21 degrees. So we aren't seeing too quite of warm temperatures, you know, kind of reaching those 30-degree marks. We are just sitting past that 20-degree mark, so that's not too bad. We have a couple that are looking slightly warmer. We have 22 with Bonnyville and down in Provost, and some that are just sitting at those teens with 18 and 19 with Edmonton, Vegreville, and Lac La Biche, as they are just slightly cooler. Going over to our Saskatchewan side, they are kind of matching with us with those conditions. Most spots are just sitting around that 20-degree mark or just above it. And then we go a bit lower and they start to warm up from there. We are seeing 23 in Macklin and 24 over in North Battleford. So they are seeing the warmest conditions, and a bit higher up they are looking slightly cooler, also just sitting around 18 to 19 degrees. North Battleford will be going down to a low of 12, so expecting those double digits for their evening low temperatures. So another warm evening expected for North Battleford. They won't be seeing a high chance of some precipitation. Then for their Wednesday, daytime high of 22, so they are kind of matching with what they are sitting at today, but they are expecting more of a cloudy day, not as much sunshine, unfortunately. For tonight, for Cold Lake, they'll be going down to a low of 11. They are expecting more of some cloudier conditions. They won't be seeing a high chance of rainfall for the evening. And then for their Wednesday, daytime high of 18, so they aren't going to be warming up by too much for tomorrow. They are expecting a slightly cooler day, and they are also expecting some rain and drizzle in the afternoon. So that should be actually quite nice. It kind of is nice to get a little bit more moisture in that rainfall to kind of balance out some of these dry heat conditions. For us here in the border city, we will be going down to that low of 11, and we are expecting a couple of showers later on in the evening, so be prepared for that. We are expecting a light drizzle later on. And then for our Wednesday, we'll be looking at a daytime high of 21, so we are still going to be matching with our daytime high temperature as what we saw today, although we are expecting periods of rain throughout the day and slightly breezy in the morning. So we are expecting a slightly cooler day condition-wise, but temperature-wise, we are still going to be matching with what we saw today. So make sure to just look out for that for tomorrow and make sure not to have as much of shorts and a t-shirts kind of day. And ending off the look at some of your weather photo submissions. Thank you to everyone that submitted so far to our Facebook page. You can continue to do so. I will use them. This one is from Trish. Great shot, Trish. Love to see it. I especially love the greenery in the front there. Absolutely gorgeous. And this is the last one here from Sonia. Thank you so much, Sonia. Love to see it. Love seeing the pretty colors in the sky. That's all I have for now for First Look, your weather forecast.
Thank you so much for that, Shelby. Stay with us after the break. We'll have a look at today's business headlines. And as we move to sports, we are in the final few weeks of racing for the CPCA season, with the last set of races before the finals taking place this weekend. Here's our Thomas Wildman with more.
I am joined, as always, by Greg Buchanan, the Vice President of the CPCA, and today we're going to be talking about the races that took place this past weekend in Poundmaker, as well as the races that are going to be taking place in Little Pine this coming up weekend. And so thank you so much for being with me once again, Greg.
Well, thanks for having me again, Thomas.
All right, so let's start with Poundmaker. Logan Gorst captures the aggregate winner this year. Talk to me about his win and how he, of course, is now taking the top spot in the standings, but the other drivers and the little bit of shakeup that we saw towards the bottom of the top four.
Yeah, a little bit of a shakeup there came into it, and Preston Faithful had, of course, a solid Frog Lake show, and it comes into Poundmaker, takes a barrel out, sets a track record one night. Of course, Luke Turney breaks it the next night, so he kind of falls out of that top four. And Logan Gorse, this is the second straight year he's won the aggregate show title in Poundmaker, so he's liking the track. His horses are liking the track, and and then Luke Tournier. The beat goes on. He's 60 years old. He's been in the wagon racing for 36 years. And the month of July he's had, there's not too many guys that can really match what he did. Winning so many day monies and then wins another day money just to get into that final four for Championship Sunday in Poundmaker, and then wins the dash. So yeah, there's going to be some shakeup. There's going to be some juggling going on, and with 3 more days in Little Pine, and you got to keep in mind there's 5 days in the new Lloydminster Nissan CPCA finals, but there's only 4 days that you can qualify to be in that final four for that Canadian Championship dash.
And so we'll now take a closer look at the top, those standings. So at the top is Logan Gorst. He's just cracked 1,000 points. Luke Tournier is very close behind him, only about just over 10 points separate them. Danny Ringette is sitting comfortably in third. And then taking a bit of a jump, we talked about this, DJ King now has more than 10 points over Dallas Stick in fifth. And then following is Preston Faithful and the Baptiste brothers as well, and Chris Flanagan, who are in that conversation. So those guys who are looking to get in there, especially with you mentioning how few days are left, what are they going to need to do? And especially those guys like DJ King that are sitting there that have the lead right now, but are so close to those guys behind them. What are they looking to be doing, especially coming up here this week in Little Pine?
Well, for the 3 days in Little Pine and the 4 days in Lloyd, there's going to be kind of the story of the chasers and the chasees. The chasees are the ones that are in that 4 right now, and everybody behind them is the ones trying to catch them. So if you're wanting that final 4 right now, as much as you want to be fast, the most important thing is to be clean. And if you're a little bit further down, you're going to throw it all at them. And sometimes you have kind of the 4-year hooks of the leaders and the wheel team that you're going to be hooking for the 3 days in Little Pine. You have it in the back of your mind rolling into that show, but things kind of change, and you might try it a little bit of something different. Some guys will change something just to have more pop out of the barrels. Same length track in Poundmaker that's going to be in Little Pine. So you might be gambling a little bit more if you're outside that 4. But if you're in that top 4, you don't want to gamble too much. If you gamble too much and a barrel goes down, it could be a disaster for you.
All right, and finally, let's talk about Little Pine. Of course, we've mentioned a few drivers here that are the guys that are going to be looking to really make their presence known, especially before the finals. So who kind of calls Little Pine home, or is at least close and has done well in the past, and those guys that are carrying a lot of momentum following from Poundmaker?
Well, in the past, it has been a Todd Baptiste show, and the Poundmaker was a Todd Baptiste show. Little Pine's a Todd Baptiste show, and Todd, the early part of the season, has kind of laid the roadwork for what he has ahead of him. He's had some penalties the early part of the season. It's going to be a factor for him going down the home stretch, and more penalties on the weekend in Poundmaker, which is rarity for him. So maybe look for Todd Baptiste to take a deep breath and come out very strong in Little Pine. Not a surprise there. His brother Ryan Baptiste is also having a great show. And Chris Flanagan, who had just a tremendous start to the season, wins North Battleford, had great Meadow Lake show, was in the dash there. Yeah, he's faltered just a little bit here in the month of July, but look for him to respond pretty good in Little Pine as well.
All right, and it's going to be the end of the marathon here, as we are going to be chasing for those finals here that will be taking place in Lloydminster. So lots of CPCA action will be coming up very soon. Thank you, as always, Greg, for joining me, and we will be talking again very soon.
Thanks a lot for having me, Thomas.
And now it's time for us to check in once again with Shelby Clark, who has another look at weather.
Thanks so much again there, Mr. Jace Mackey. Yes, now taking an extended look at your weather forecast, we will be starting off with our central zone of the provinces. And on our Alberta side, we have cooled down from what we have been seeing with these conditions last week as we were kind of going on later on through the week. We were slowly seeing sitting at those mid-20 temperatures, so we were warming it up quite a bit last week. But now as we are kind of starting off this new week, short week I would say, as we just finished off the August long weekend, we are starting off slightly cooler. Most spots are just sitting at those teen temperatures on our Alberta side. 21 looks like the warmest condition there in Red Deer, matching with us here in the Border City. And then we start to cool down from there with Cold Lake just just at 20 degrees, and the rest are just sitting between 17 to 19. So we are looking quite cool in some of these areas. Going over to our Saskatchewan side now, some of them have cooled down just like what we are seeing on our Alberta side, especially in these areas here with Melfort, Prince Albert, and Meadow Lake. They are just sitting at 18 and 19 degrees. So then we go a bit lower with North Battleford and Saskatoon. They are looking slightly warmer still, kind of continuing on that warm streak that they were kind of seeing last week. 22 in Saskatoon and now 24 in North Battleford. Going over to our northern zone now to check them out. On our Saskatchewan side, they have cooled down. Most spots are just sitting at those teen temperatures. 21 looks like the warmest condition on this side, up in Stony Rapids and Uranium City, and that's nice to see because Uranium City was looking at some pretty cool temperatures last week compared to all these other spots. So now they have warmed it back up. We're looking at 18 and 17 in most spots, with Wash and Buffalo Narrows and South End and Walston Lake, and down in Flin Flon looking slightly cooler, just at 15 at those that mid-teen mark. So looking quite cool in Flin Flon. Going over to Alberta side here in our northern zone to check them out. So they are still kind of seeing just past that 20-degree mark. So they were still looking at those conditions last week as we were kind of ending things off. 20 degrees with Grand Prairie and Fort McMurray, while Fort Chipewyan and High Level are just looking past it. And then we have Peace River and Slave Lake both seeing the coolest conditions there, just at 17. So we are seeing some areas still just sitting at those teen temperatures. But now as you go over to our southern zone, it's a huge switch up, especially down in Lethbridge and Medicine Hat. Not very shocking. They are just under that 30-degree mark, so they have that heat warning in place. We start to see those mid-20s with Calgary and Coronation, and then over in Banff, they did not get the memo. With the rest of these spots on the Alberta side, they're just sitting at 17, matching with us more in our central and our northern zone. Going over to our Saskatchewan side to check them out in our southern zone, they are still seeing those mid-20s. They were looking at those mid-30s in on some of those days last week, so they had that extreme heat warning in place. But now for today, starting off this short week, they are kind of starting off more of a mild note. At least they're just sitting at those mid-20s. 24 in most spots, while Regina is just sitting at 25. Yorkton is looking at the coolest condition on this side with 21, and down in Estevan just at 27. So Estevan is seeing the warmest condition there on our Saskatchewan side. But now as we look at some overnight evening lows in our surrounding area for what we can expect for tonight, for our Tuesday night, we will be looking at those double digits again for the evening. A low of 11 looks like the most popular temperature expected in most of these spots. Paradise Hill will be expecting a low of 10, and Meadow Lake is expecting slightly cooler tonight with a low of 8 at that single digit. Some of these spots also will be expecting a high chance of some precipitation, especially in Bonnyville and Provost. They will be expecting some showers later on in the evening, so just be prepared for that. Looking at our hourly forecast for our Wednesday here in the border city, we are kind of seeing a bit of a weird day, especially off in the morning there. We're kind of going to be fluctuating between that 12 to 15 degree mark. So we are going to be starting off quite warm. We are going to be looking quite cool in our afternoon for tomorrow. And then through our midday afternoon, around 2 to 4 p.m., we'll finally just reach past that 20 degree mark. So just hitting 21 for our daytime high, but we aren't expecting too nice of conditions, unfortunately, because we are expecting more of a cloudier day tomorrow. So slightly gloomy, that's for sure. We are expecting more of a strong breeze in the morning and a high chance of some precipitation throughout the day. So be prepared for some rainfall here in the border city. And we will actually see that continue on into our Thursday. We will be seeing another day full of some gloominess and a lot more rainfall. So that will be nice. We definitely need a little bit more rainfall to kind of help balance out these dry heat conditions. We'll kind of take a break from that rainfall on Friday as we head off into the weekend. And then we'll be seeing that rain kind of make its way back on our Saturday. And then we will be hitting that scorcher on Sunday. So definitely going to be seeing a switch up on Sunday as we end off the weekend at 27 and then looking at those mid-20s through the rest of next week. That's all I have for now. RJ Smacky will have my news coming up after the break.
Abby's away this week, so I'm here for Pet Project with Nicole. It's always great to be here, Nicole. Thanks for talking with me.
Seeing ya.
And today we're talking about this handsome little guy, Pee-wee. Tell us a little bit more about him.
So yeah, Pee-wee's about 2 years old. He's a domestic long hair. He just came in as a random stray from Lloyd. So he's all neutered and up to date on his vaccines. So he's ready to go home today, actually. He's very sweet, very cuddly.
Yeah.
Seems to be really good with kids of all ages, as well as other animals. We haven't had any issues. He gets along great with the other cats. I'm not 100% sure about dogs, but I think he seems pretty chill. That slow introduction, he'd be fine.
Yeah, he'd get cool with it super easily, because just look at him right here. Look how calm he is. He just wants to be loved and get those cuddles and snuggle with his owner. Talk to me a little bit about the adoption process for someone who's possibly coming in here to look for him or any of the other cats that are in here.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. You just go onto our website, and then you can fill out an application, and then we just call a couple references, make sure it's a good fit. Usually takes a day or two, and then you can come and pick up your new fur baby.
I love to see just how much he's cuddling, so
snuggly.
relaxed. Talk to me a little bit about the amount of cats that you guys have right now. Is there, I'm sure you always get a lot are coming in, hey?
Yeah, no, we have quite a bit. Like, I know we have a bunch of kittens in foster care. Like, I'd say we probably have about 40 to 50 kittens in foster care right now. So in a couple of weeks, all of those guys will be coming back, so we'll be extremely full. But if you're looking at for a kitten, we've got every single kind of kitten you can imagine. So yeah, we are quite full. I know last week with dogs and cats, we were at 110 animals in our care between us as well as foster. I feel like it's gone up a little bit. So yeah, we're probably sitting about 115 for cats and dogs in the shelter right now.
So there you go. There's a lot of animals that are here at Border Paws that are looking for a forever home. So make sure you come down here and check out, because there's something for everyone, it seems like.
Absolutely.
In here we have this beautiful cat condo. People can come in here and hang out with the cats. But talk to me a little about different volunteer opportunities actually, and because people of all ages can do that, right?
Yeah, so our volunteer program, we've got something for every age, depending what you like. If you want to just come hang out with the animals, or if you want to actually get involved with more of the taking care of them. So that's like feeding, cleaning, walking the dogs, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you are interested, you can go to our website. There's some information there, and also to fill out an application, as well as we started a volunteer Facebook page. So anybody who's on Facebook, you can go and join that group, and then it will kind of let you know different stuff that we need, the kind of help we need, as well as all the different events we'll need help with. Because I mean, a lot of our events are volunteer run, so yeah, it's kind of just a easy way to find out what we're needing. And yeah, if you just want to come in and get a tour too, you can always do that. We do, if you're under 16, you do have to be accompanied by a parent, but you can bring all ages.
There you go. It can be a whole family thing. Is there any time commitment though with that?
No. So if you want to do a half an hour once a week, we have no time commitment. If you want to come every day, that's fine with us too. Perfect. So it's kind of nice. There's no set hours or anything. It's whatever works best for you and your lifestyle. So.
And we're in there's no school on right now, but it seems like it would be a great kind of volunteer opportunity for those school kids that need to get their hours in or something like that.
Absolutely. Hey? Anybody who needs hours. I mean, I know when I was in high school, I used to do them the summer before. That way I was already done. So yeah, any kids want to get their volunteer hours, please come stop by. We've got lots to do. Also, another thing I'll mention with volunteers too is it's called Book Buddies. It's where we actually have the children come and read
to
the cats or the dogs. It's so adorable. So yeah, if anybody wants to brush up on their reading and they want to come read to these guys, they're great listeners.
Amazing. And who wouldn't love to come and hang out with these cute little pets here at Border Paws Animal Shelter? Pee-wee, one last time. Such a good animal for us here, such a good cat, behaving so well. Please come and take him home. He's looking for his forever home. Nicole, thanks again for talking with us today.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
Chris Vallot is joining me here today on Primetime Local News, a very special guest, talking about an independent film being shot in this area. Chris, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you.
Well, let's talk about this project. Tell me how it all got started, first of all.
This got all started when I was working at a job in Vermilion, and I thought, man, this is a really tough job. I thought there's struggles, there's ups and downs, and I thought where I am in this job, I'm replacing someone because they're having a baby soon. They're going on maternity leave. And I thought, that's an interesting concept. Someone coming in to replace someone that's on going on maternity leave, and he's supposed to fill in. But it turns out that person's shoes were harder to fill than he thought. And so that encapsulated this whole project. But the icing on the cake was, what was the reason why it was so hard? Because any job is, if you work hard enough and you find out how to do it, should be relatively easy, but it's not easy when you're dealing with mental health. And so Conrad, the main character, has mental health issues. He struggles with anxiety and depression, and he's not able to concentrate. He's on medication. He's on 3 different medications that aren't helping him focus and aren't helping him at his job.
Now, the film itself is called The Replacement.
Yes.
And let's talk about funding for something like this. Is this something where you have to apply for grants, or has it come easily for you?
Grants are very hard, and they're hard because you have to have a lot of things in order. You have to have a company name, you have to have a code, and all these other fun stuff that allows you to be a production that's actually growing. Whereas I'm still trying to grow and still at the beginning stages of my production. So I do have a production name, but I'm not able to apply for these grants. So what I've done is I've gotten together with a couple of people that are passionate about this, that want to do this, and they've helped me produce it. And they've come alongside and thrown in money, probably in some cases more than I have, because I've spent everything I could at the moment, and that includes the props, the food for the actors and crew members, and all that. And once I ran out, someone was there to help me and continue on, because they wanted this to succeed just as much as I did.
Well, let's talk about the cast and crew. And you are filming around Lloydminster and Vermilion.
Yes.
So where did you scope the cast and crew from?
I really struggled to find actors, but I was able to get in touch with someone from that used to work in theater, and they brought me in touch with a few other theater members, and they had worked on the Clue play that was just here in Lloydminster not too long ago. And right after that, they had this to do. It was great because they kept working, doing what they love, and I was able to find people to help with my project.
So what do you need at this point now? Do you still need people to help you out, or are you pretty much on par to get this wrapped in the next couple of weeks?
I'm really close to being done. I've struggled to find child actors, but I've just managed to find some that are going to be perfect for the role. And we've really only got 6 major scenes left, and the rest are just little B-rolls, things to fill in, little shots of the window or maybe a door, stuff like that.
So what is the ultimate goal then when this is wrapped, Chris? Do you take it just to film festivals, and are you hoping for bigger things with it, or what's the ultimate plan?
The plan is to have a screening either in Lloydminster or Vermilion, and to every ticket that is bought, money goes to mental health. And it's kind of like a fundraiser in that way, where we don't keep the money for ourselves. And I mean, I'd love to pay the actors, I'd love to pay the cameraman, but I still feel like it should be going to something of a noble cause. And that's why I want it to go to mental health.
So has this been more of a passion project for you?
It is, because I feel that I've lived through this character I've portrayed on the screen, Conrad. I feel like I've lived his story, and I consider this part of my legacy to film this.
So if anybody is looking to kind of keep up with what you're doing and find out release dates and that sort of thing, do you have any social media or anything set up at this point?
Yes, we have the Replacement, the movie, on the Facebook page. You can find that. And when you go to the Facebook page, The Replacement, the movie, you can see updates and behind the scenes and all sorts of stuff.
All right, Chris, well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And ending off with another quick look at your 7-day forecast, we will be seeing a little bit of precipitation the next couple days, so be prepared. We will be getting lots of rainfall for Wednesday and Thursday. We'll get a nice break on Friday, and we should be getting a little bit more on Saturday right as we head into the weekend. We won't be seeing too warm of conditions throughout the rest of this week, but as we head into next week, ending off on the weekend, we will be almost reaching that 30-degree mark on Sunday and seeing those mid-20s next week.
And finally, before we go tonight, Shelby, we have another story relating to Barbie. So it's kind of perfect that we have like the pinker lights behind us. Obviously,
Yes,
you
we're
have your
trying.
pink hair.
Yeah.
So this has to do with the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. He's gone viral on social media after posting a picture with his son twinning in pink outfits while watching the ¡1 movie of the summer.
That was a cute photo.
Yes, I think a lot of people have seen this in a social media post. Trudeau and his 15-year-old son Xavier can be seen posing in front of a Barbie poster alongside a caption that reads, "We're Team Barbie." The post attracted more than 141,000 likes on X, formerly known as Twitter, and over 9,000 comments on Instagram. And unsurprisingly, a lot of them were not positive.
It's so sad knowing that some of those comments were not positive, because that is such a harmless kind of photo to me.
Yeah.
Such a harmless photo. You're having a good time out with your child, your son. You're wearing pink, which is definitely a positive trend, and everything that everybody's doing to go watch Barbie. If you haven't seen it yet, also amazing movie.
It's
we
a
know
lot of
that.
fun, yeah.
A lot of fun, and people are trying to say some bad stuff, you know, like hating comments and all that. I feel so bad for that, because, you know, it's just like a fun time posing, and this is what you get.
Yeah, well, that's social media for you. I think a lot of people can have problems with the Prime Minister for whatever reason, but
Exactly.
I don't know if this is one of the things that you should get up in arms about.
And some of the comments, won't be seeing it right now, but some of them are just
Go
harmful.
look, you can see them
Yeah,
for yourselves.
it's awful.
Well, that's all the time we do have, though, for this edition of Primetime Local News. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here again on Wednesday, and we'll see you then.